welcome to this practice of VinYin, combining vinyasa or a fluid practice and then coming into stillness with our yin yoga, our longer holds in our poses. So begin by coming onto your back, and when you come down, just bend the knees. Let the knees rest towards each other and place the hands down on the lower belly beneath the navel. And just take a moment, close down those eyes, drop your attention down into the way the soft belly rises as you breathe in and falls back down towards the mat as you breathe out. And just paying attention here to this gentle movement in the abdomen. The way in which the body is breathing. And the mind dropping down to explore the feeling of your body, however you're showing up in this moment. Acknowledge that. And then as you begin to draw those knees in towards the chest, holding the shins or the back of the thighs, let the tailbone lift off the mat, rounding a little through the lower back. Hugging the legs towards the chest and in towards each other. And then could you be hands free here? Take those arms wide, and to activate that drawing in, flexing the toes towards the shins. Keep hugging everything in, almost like there's just one leg, squeezing in, continuing to breathe. And then just take a little gentle rocking from side to side here. It doesn't need to be a big movement. The knees are just coming to one side at a time. And then when they come back through center, land those feet down about hip distance apart. Find your way into bridge pose, lifting the lower back, mid back and upper back. Then as you breathe out, lowering the spine down in that reverse direction. The arms could stay wide or you could shift them beside you. Breathing in, lift the lower back away from the mat, the middle part of your back and the upper back. As you exhale, lowering down the upper spine, mid-spine and lower spine. And just take two more like this, using those parts of your body that are connecting with the mat to support you, whether it's the feet, the back of the hands, the shoulders, the back of the head. We're going to combine these movements into a flow. So if your arms aren't already out like a T, take them wide. Take a breath in and draw the knees towards the chest and towards each other. As you breathe out, take the knees to the left side, just hovering above the floor. Inhale the knees back through center. Exhale to the right. Inhale back to center. As you breathe out, place the feet down, and as you breathe in, lift into bridge pose. On the exhale, lowering the spine slowly back down. We'll continue like this, breathing in, knees to chest. Exhale, knees to the left. Inhale, knees to center. Exhale, knees to the right. Inhale, knees to center. Exhale, plant the feet. Breathing in, lifting up the spine. Exhale, laying it slowly back down. One more round. Inhale, knees to chest, flexing the toes, squeezing in. Exhale, knees to left. Inhale, abdominal switching on, knees come back through center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, knees to center. Place the feet down as you release the breath and preparing to rise up as as you take a breath in. We're holding here, we're still breathing. You can feel the inner thighs hugging in towards each other a little. Feel the outer hips switching on, the glutes active. Stay for one last breath in. And as you breathe out, lowering the spine all the way back down. Just feeling into that neutral spine. Letting those knees come back to the chest, hugging the shins or the back of the thighs, and just take a little bit of a rocking movement here through center. You can make this movement as big or as small as you like. You might start to rock up and down a little more here. You could be hands free, and maybe the feet don't even touch the floor. You're eventually coming all the way up, crossing the legs over. Find your way onto the hands and knees. Spread the fingers nice and wide, curl the toes under. Finding our cat-cow, so finding our cow pose as we breathe in, lifting through the chest and the sit bones. As you exhale, rounding the spine, looking towards the navel. Moving here with your breath, scooping up from navel to center of the chest to look forward. And as you exhale, press into the hands actively, feel that space between the shoulder blades. Remain connected to the breath and the way the breath is moving your body. With those toes curled under, at the bottom of your next out breath, you're going to press the mat away, come up into first downward dog. Knees might remain bent here as you start to lengthen out the spine a little first. Perhaps then starting to send the heels down if you can stay elevated through the sit bones. Steady with the breath. Even allowing the abdomen to soften a little here. From down dog, come forward into plank or half plank with the knees down. As you breathe out, rolling back into down dog, so letting those knees float across the surface of the mat, take the sit bones up and back. Inhaling forward into plank, and then rolling back into your downward facing dog. And continuing like this, or taking the alternative option, which is coming into your half plank, like I'm doing here, hands and knees, and as you breathe out, finding an extended child's pose. So either moving through your plank and down dog, or your extended child's pose and half plank. And wherever you're choosing, remain active through the abdominal muscles, so you're not loading up the lower back. So keep that core switched on enough without restricting the breath. We're meeting in your plank pose. Take one last breath in to shift forward slightly. Exhale to the floor, release down with control. Maybe it's bringing the knees first and then finding your way into locust. Taking the arms back alongside you, breathing in, rising up. We're pausing here and exploring the way the breath brings that subtle movement into the body. One last breath in, rise up. As you breathe out, lowering all the way down. Take a breath in to come back through hands and knees or your full plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Use your next breath in to send the right leg up towards the ceiling, three-legged dog. Now resist opening that right hip. Instead, send the hips facing down towards the mat. So maybe the leg isn't lifting as high, but you'll feel the glutes switching on. You can always bend that left knee a little bit more. Find a little more height as you lift up on the ball of that left foot. Keeping the right leg straight, just swish it down so the foot hovers above the mat, like a pendulum. Inhale, take that straight right leg back up towards the ceiling without opening the hip. Exhale, floating the leg back down to hover above the floor. So the more you can lift up on the ball of that left foot, more space you've got just to let that straight leg swing. One last time, taking the leg up, then you're stepping the foot forward, finding a runner's lunge. So keeping the back knee lifted, Press back through the left heel. Lengthen through the spine. We're staying on the left hand, it might even be on a block. Breathing in, take the right arm up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, soften that arm under the front thigh. Breathing in to lift, stay active through that back leg. Exhale. One last time, breathing in. That hand is coming down to the front of the mat. Find your three-legged dog. Maybe try to avoid sliding that right foot. Lift the hips, send the right leg all the way up, extending. As you breathe out, find a tiger curl. Knee comes forward towards the chest. Inhale to lift. Stepping the foot forward, find a high lunge. Take the arms up alongside the ears, steering the hips forward evenly. Left hip forward slightly, right hip back. Hear the soft sound of your breath. One last breath in here. Releasing the hands down to frame the front foot. Step your way back into down dog. This time place that right foot down. Take a breath in, find your plank. Exhale, release to the earth. One breath, locust. Coming down on the exhale. Navel to spine, come up through hands and knees. Still strong through the belly, downward facing dog. Aim for length of spine, so if that means drawing up the front ribs into the back of your shirt a little more, try that. If it means bending the knees deeper, can always be a good way to find more length. Stabilizing through both hands, both shoulders, particularly now as you're about to take that left leg up, three-legged dog. Dropping that left hip, even more than you think you need to. Imagine stretching your mat forward with your hands. And then let that left leg float down and hover above the mat. Inhale to lift. You're warming up both sets of hamstrings. Exhale. Nice and high, lifting that right heel. With control, stepping the foot forward. Runner's lunge, back knee stays lifted. Lengthen the spine just by lifting the gaze. Right hand or on the block, breathe in, take the left arm up. Soften as you exhale, curling under the front thigh. Two more like this. Placing the left hand down, three-legged dog. Adding a tiger curl as you breathe out. Inhale, lift. Extend that left leg, finding your high lunge. Lift to the fingers, lift the gaze. One last breath in. Hands touch down as you breathe out. Step your way back into downward facing dog. From down dog, lower down to the knees. Find your sleeping swan. Right knee forward to the right wrist, extending the left leg back. Find the center of that left knee. You might like a block underneath that right hip. You might like a bolster under the elbows or the chest. You may be choosing to stay upright. Making sure that front knee is happy. And if it's not, come into a reclined figure four. Both have the benefit of inviting you into a state of stillness. And both have the intention of finding more space through the right hip. And as we come into these slightly longer holds now, just 3 minutes at a time, Starting to let go of some of that effort that you were exerting in the first part of this practice. So firstly, bring a little more attention to the breath and encourage the breath to start slowing down a little. So in this way, follow the next breath in and then lightly hold the breath just for 2 counts before breathing out. Let that inhale arise naturally. You're just holding the breath for 2 short counts before releasing that breath out of the body. Once that starts to feel comfortable for you, add a pause at the bottom of the exhale as well. So you're breathing in, lightly holding at the top for 2, exhaling, leaving the breath out for 2 counts before breathing in. Follow these 4 parts to your breath. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Prepare the body and the mind to start releasing now, lifting up the torso. We're just moving straight away to that second side. So that right leg is released back behind you. The left knee comes towards the left wrist. So the right leg should enjoy this now as you find that extension and the center of that right knee. Checking in, of course, ensuring that the body is happy, everything feels safe, making adjustments as necessary. Might be supporting that left hip or supporting the upper body. And we're just here for 3 short minutes. And rather than focusing perhaps on some of the stronger sensations that you might be experiencing right now, or even some of the thoughts of displeasure or discomfort, could you come back to focusing more on those 4 parts of your breath? Watching over the breath in this unhurried state. And then if you could let some of that control with the breath fall away. It might be just releasing that count in your mind and simply acknowledging that that space and that pause is still present for you. Trust yourself to feel the pattern of your breath, the inhale, the space available to you before breathing out. That moment of stillness before breathing in. Gently riding the breath in as you start to come up to release, this left leg is coming back behind you as you find your way into Sphinx pose. Separating those legs back behind you. You might like that bolster if you're using one today under the armpits or under the chest. Just finding that position for your elbows either directly under the shoulders or perhaps a little further out in front. You may even like to use a block to support the head. And all you've done is just change position. So there was that momentary movement of the body to set it up now for Sphinx pose. And as you return once again to stillness, continue making suggestions to your body to do less. So perhaps the big toes are turning in slightly and you're indicating to the legs that right now they're not required, no effort is necessary. You feel the calves relax, the front and back of the thighs, and switching off the glutes. And coming back to the breath. Feeling the gentle movement of the abdomen against the floor. And then venture out once more throughout the body. And keep seeking any areas that are holding on in this active state unnecessarily. Acknowledge and make a choice just to let them soften some more. Stay with this last full breath, expanding that belly and long breath out, just letting it all go. Feel the body surrender, the weight of the body heavy towards the floor. And then you can release the torso, the head, either making a pillow under the forehead or release the arms beside you and turn to rest on one cheek. As you find your way into that neutral spine, just notice anything that might come to the surface for you. A feeling under the skin, a thought, or even an emotion. Maybe you're just allowing yourself to feel good right now. And then from your belly, you're going to roll onto your back. So you won't have to move much at all. Just start to roll onto your back. And when you come onto your back, find your way there. Have the knees bent. Let the knees rest against each other. And this is how you began the practice. So just notice what's here for you right now. And as we bring those knees back into the chest like we did a little earlier, just holding on to the knees, shins or back of the thighs, and let the tailbone lift a little, hugging those knees in towards you. separate those knees, drawing those knees out towards the side body. We're starting to move into our happy baby here. So you might just keep holding on to the thighs or the shins, and you don't need to pull the knees or the legs any closer to the torso. Simply use those hands to create that bind and start to feel that ease through the belly once more. Relaxing through the pelvic floor, softening the buttocks and the thighs. And you could continue holding this way, or even the back of the thighs, or turning those feet up towards the ceiling. Take hold of the inner or outer edges of the feet. Just choosing an option that allows you to keep the head and shoulders and the spine on your mat. As you're welcoming that space between the breaths, begin to acknowledge that slightly longer exhalation now. You know what it feels like when you sigh, and it just feels really good to release through that open mouth, that audible sigh. It's like you peel away another layer of tension or tiredness or discomfort. So as you feel into those slightly longer exhales now, just make a commitment to be here in this shape, in this body, with all of the feels, all of the sensations and thoughts. And know that the breath is what you come back to over and over again. Bringing that comfort as you return to the present moment. Because everything else is just a label, just a story, a judgment. You can be free of all of that now. And just these last 3 breaths could open up another window, another door. Open up another layer in towards yourself. And with control and with care, you can guide those legs back towards each other and take anything you need here. It might be squeezing the legs in or making movements with the hips, or you may simply enjoy extending those legs down to the far corners of your mat. As you start to create more space and unkink the body from any bends, any extra curves, just feel there under the skin that rush of warm energy. And continue this practice of quietening the mind, quietening the mind. As you make a choice to let those thoughts of past and future, just let them fall away, let them pass in the background of your mind. Like a TV screen, you see the images, but it's on mute. So you're really not paying so much attention. You notice, you just let it pass by. You can enjoy this time to do less. Do less and stay with these last 3 breaths, just making that commitment to yourself now. 3 breaths I said, but let's make it 3 minutes. Just these last 3 minutes could be the best 3 minutes of your day. And even when another idea calls to you, a memory or thought, just be kind to any restlessness or impatience in your mind. Continue on this practice, noticing that quiet between the breaths, letting your attention slip into that space, noticing just through the warmth of your attention that space of silence and stillness gradually expands. Take these last few moments just to marinate there. And perhaps you're able to stay just a little longer resting in Shavasana. Or if and when you're ready, you can begin to bring movement back into your body and start to come back up and re-enter this day, whether it's moving into a few mindful moments of meditation, contemplation. However you're moving forward, I wish you well. Namaste.